Alrighty, we are live in Columbus, OH, and this is the Ramsey Show After Show. Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions Certified Financial Coach. As we wait for the audio to happen. And there it goes. Audio is good to have, always advised. Alrighty. Hope everybody had a good weekend, a good day yesterday. There was no after show yesterday. Alrighty, and you're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney, and my financial content is right below the Oak Island playlist. You'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist, and today is show number 549. Answering your financial questions. There's 138 in there, and there's 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in the music playlist. Singing not my regular job, so don't expect too much on that, but you might like the songs anyway. Market report, and now that the market's actually open, there's no futures. Actually, there still are futures, but now we get actually live readings, and it is all down today. See what everything's up in Europe, everything up in Asia, and of course in Europe it's later in the day. What's that, like 5 hours? So that might still be during their trading day, still might be active. They're in Asia. I don't know if they're behind us, or I don't know where that line is, where it's today or yesterday or whatever. I don't know that, but mostly up in Asia. And the currencies. What up, Aslan? What up, Di? The euro up against the US dollar. Japanese yen up against the US dollar. The British pound low up against the US dollar. Canadian dollar A up over the US dollar. But the Australian dollar, mate. US said NAR to them. And so not a clean sweep for the rest of the world over the US dollar. Let's see if we got anybody fun reporting. That would be 9 o'clock p.m. What kind of reporting day is that? A reporting time? I've not ever seen that. I wonder if that was 9 a.m. Let's check it out. Let's go to the tape. Well, now why won't it let me open? Oh, because you gotta click on the only thing that's linked is that. There we go. Okay, new tab. And the Home Depot up 0.5%. As you can see, it went way up first thing in the morning. Let's see if they actually did post earnings this morning, like an hour and a half ago. Despite earnings miss as it navigates Trump's tariffs. Home Depot stock rises despite earnings miss, so I guess they did, and so it was just a typo, probably. Should say AM on there. I was gonna say I've never seen a 9 AM. We got Target tomorrow, some more retail goodness tomorrow, Progressive and TJX on Thursday. And got to get down on Friday. No. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. That's the 21st. And then Thursday is the 22nd. Analog devices. Alrighty, fun times. Most followed single stocks on the Google today, and they are all down except the Tesla. Let's see, we have, I think, some. Let's see. Got some stories here. This is from the dailymail.com. Ingredient linked to dementia found in popular food product used by over 200 million Americans. And it is Ziploc food bags and containers. And are those food products or food storage products? So I thought it was a food product. It was going to be a food product. So like something used in food, maybe even a, yellow number 5 or whatever it is. Yeah. Did I have one more? Yeah. Oh yeah. Home Depot CFO. Chief Financial Officer says retailer doesn't plan to raise prices due to tariffs. And yes, companies can do that. They can say, well, we'll go ahead and not raise our prices because of that. They can do that. And they may end up making more money overall than if they had, raised prices. Let's check the rest of the headlines. Elon Musk commits to leading Tesla for the next 5 years. Okay, didn't know he was thinking about not leading it. Austin, some Texas news. Austin's reign as a tech hub might be coming to an end. I wonder why. Would it be? Because you got your no state taxes there, and I'm sure Austin gives some nice kickbacks and such, some other tax considerations for tech companies, perhaps. Did that one. Deep Wave Quantum shares soar 20% as company releases latest computing system. NPR says doctors urged to treat pain for IUD insertion and other procedures. All right. I wonder why they wouldn't. I mean, it might be something that is maybe perhaps normally a little bit painful, but I'm sure in some instances, certain procedures like that might be very painful, especially if a doctor screws up in inserting it. USA Today, JCPenney store closures, 7 locations shuttering May 25th. Business Insider, it's not just jobs online. AI threatens the Big Four's dominance. And the Wall Street Journal, a fire sale of Portland's largest office tower shows how far the city has fallen. Well, that, you might want to run your city better, of course. And that's all I have to say about that. Let's answer some questions. Sid is modding only. She's working at the moment. All right. And her contract with me does allow for modding only. She doesn't have to do chatty. Prestigious Spray 237. We don't have a contract. Dave's daughter is a breath of fresh air. Does anyone enjoy listening to Rachel over Dave? I find she is way more down to earth, whereas Dave is so over dramatic. I'm sure mostly for the camera. No, he's probably like that. Dave comes across so confident that it seems like he has never been broke. Not always, but sometimes. Okay, you can have your little opinion about that. That's just fine. KC, JC fan. Kansas City. I don't know what JC would be. Paid off house. We paid off our house today. It still doesn't feel real. We're a couple in our early 40s with 4 kids. We paid $285,000. It involves saying no to ourselves and our kids a lot. So we get to relax a little and start saying yes. And that is exactly how the baby steps work. The plan works. Indeed, it does. Trey says Portland, Oregon equals lovely geographic environment, but Looney Tunes seem to gravitate to that city. Indeed. George Camel, where did you get your glasses from? I don't know that Mr. Camel reads this subreddit. The brown ones from the Smart Money Happy Hour, reacting to the wildest. Am I the germ Reddit threads? What? I'm looking for some light brown glasses. Thanks. Oh, Smart Money Happy Hour, where they were reacting to the wildest. Um. Oh, am I the jerk? Maybe. Reddit threads. Is the M? Yeah, the K is on top of the M, and a little to the side, to the right side. Rachel, I just got your two kids book for my toddlers. Thanks for keeping me motivated. All right. Oh, that's great, but they are not like reading this thing every day because Ramsey Solutions does not run this. This is run by fans. 100 XDev. When to spend more than feels comfortable. Baby step 7 for sure. Especially if I'm considering purchasing a new car. Yeah, if you spent years driving old cars and now you're on step 7, you've earned the right to get a new car if you want to get one. If you're a millionaire, if not a millionaire, then you don't get a brand new car, but you can get a newer one. My current car is a small, stiff sports car, a stiff one, huh? And my driving commute has tripled in the last year. That is not fun at all. I could definitely continue to drive my current car without an issue. And so for me, that would be probably it, no matter what baby step I was on. But I would be 10 times more comfortable in something different. Okay. I've been looking in the 60,000-ish range for a new car. And so, I got to hear what baby step you're on. If you're like in baby step 2 or 3, or even if you're just on 4, I want to know where the 60K is coming from because there's no loans happening. That has to be in cash. Let's see, and I've been very attracted to a lot of the new technology available in more modern cars. Sure, I'm sure all that new technology is great. I don't have it in my car, and guess what? I'm fine with it. That amount of money makes me feel uncomfortable for a car because I've always been to buy the cheapest car you can. Yeah, ride it out. Because cars are a waste of money, guy, and frankly, still am. I'd be more comfortable in the max 35K range than get one for 35K then. Let's see what else is going on here. Should have opened it up earlier. Didn't see the ellipsis there. With that said, I'm not sure when it's worth spending a bit more than you're comfortable with for a bit more nicety. Especially when on paper you can easily afford it. Well, you want to be able to afford it in reality as well and not just on paper. Current situation, 25 man, income is 240, all cash. Yep, my current net worth is 200K, no debt, great cash savings, and investing is roughly 10K per month. All right, so the real question is, am I being cheap? So 200K, so you're not a millionaire, so there's no buying a brand new car. And so you probably don't need to spend 60K on one then. So spend 60K on a car, you probably don't need to because you're not buying new. Because you do not fit the requirements set forth by Mr. Ramsey, sir. Or should I be financially optimal and buy a 30K car? My current car is worth 13K for context. Great, so you can sell that one, and so it would be less, but if that 60K is a used one, I guess you can do that if you have extra savings beyond the 3 to 6 month emergency fund, the full emergency fund. So it says no debt. But here you would also have to know how many 40 comments, 46. Not going to look through them to see if, because it says no debt, but he could still have a mortgage. And so you would not be saving $10,000 or even half. You would not be saving any amount of extra money beyond the emergency fund until the house was paid off. So would have to ask that. Trey says, I bet they could find a really nice, gently loved used car, same make and model for 60% of that new price. Yep. I mean, and I just with 60, I'm thinking that's new. I'm sure there are certain models that used ones are $60, but that's the exact kind of car you should not be buying, probably. Sell a house to pay off debt. All right. Well, that is up to you. Something like that can relocate your finances very efficiently, like a twister coming in. But it depends on your finances, what step you're in, how much debt you have, what the income is, etc., etc. So let's find out. I know over sentence 370. Okay. I know this question has been asked many times before, but didn't know if the general advice is the same when applied to my situation. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. There's nothing that you can type right here that changes the advice. You're either doing the advice or you're pausing the baby steps if there's some kind of emergency situation. But your little specific circumstances don't change the advice. So let's see what doesn't apply here and what is not needed. Just your question is all that's needed. Let's see, 42 years old, that doesn't change it. You do this, the baby steps the same regardless of whether you're 18 or 42. Married with 2 kids, you do it the same if you are single or married. You do it the same if you have no kids, 2 kids, or 10 kids. Household income is around 150K. Okay, that part would possibly figure in. My debt, yeah, student loans, 56K. Been paying since 2008. That's 17 years to you and me. Personal loans 25K. Credit card 20K. Medical bills 5K. Taxes 6K. It's not fun to owe the IRS. Not advised. Savings minimal to none. 7,500. Okay, so you see, 7,500 is more than none. It's also more than minimal, and you should have $1,000. Everything else goes to debt, so you're doing it wrong. Also, and what you want to do with savings has nothing to do with the Ramsey advice. So you're not doing the Ramsey advice. You're doing what you want to do. House is worth in the neighborhood of 500K. Interest rate 5 on the mortgage. I owe about 300K. So let's go to household income 150K so they can afford the mortgage. That should be in the range of the or at least now it is. It may not have been when they bought it. Depending on how long, doesn't say how long ago they bought the house, but the mortgage now is within their range and would be with that 25% or less of their take-home pay. I've stopped all credit cards now for over a year. What do you mean stopped them? Like like not using them anymore. I made some progress on my debt, but it seems like whenever I pay something off, something else comes along, and you have to just say no to the stuff that comes along. Now, if it's an emergency or something like that, sure, you can't just put that off. But if it's, oh, I forgot somebody's birthday, then tough crap. They don't get a present this year. Sorry. They weren't important enough to remember to put in the budget, then you don't need to get them anything while you're paying off your dumbass debt. Paid off a $4,000 loan only for my dog to need emergency surgery, and that'll happen. That cost $3,000. Seemed like I'm stuck in a cycle of trading one debt for another. Well, you see, that's what you open yourself up to when you do things like have dogs and have children, because emergency surgeries do happen. Both my wife and I drive 20-year-old cars that are paid off. They won't last forever. No, they won't. If I sold my house, I could make enough to pay all this off and still have some left over for a down payment on something else that would be smaller and cheaper. Hopefully, the mortgage, making the mortgage closer to what I pay now. Normally wouldn't consider selling the house. I love it. It has what we need. Okay, my reason for considering is I'm not getting any younger. I need, how old did he say? 42. Getting up there. I need savings, and I have to start retirement contributions like yesterday. Yeah. The sale would kickstart this process for me instead of spending 3 or 4 more years of my life getting out of this hole. What are your thoughts? Should I sell or stick it out? Now, that would give you a reset. But again, you also may have some lifestyle stuff that you still would need to cut out. So, because what we would like to look at here that is not included, 44 comments, too many to look through. But what would be good here would be the expenses, your budget, to see what your outgo is, to see how fast you could pay off all this debt if you were paying it off. So if mortgage is only going to be 25%, then theoretically you could shoot through this debt pretty fast, but that means cutting stuff out of your expenses. And so that may be your bigger problem than the things that come up or life happening, as the people like to say. So, and yeah, life happening, stuff coming up that you need to do that like negates what you just paid off on debt. You just got to say no to what the stuff that you can say no to. Emergency surgery, that's not going to be one of them, of course. But yeah, so this would depend. I mean, you can definitely do that even if you don't have to. But I'd have to see what was going on in the budget and how fast you could pay that off. Because if you cannot pay it off in 3 years, that's when you would sell the cars. But the cars are already older, I think, said, and they're paid off. No debt on them. And so that would be the only thing to do to sell the house if you didn't have anything you can cut out of the expenses, which I'm going to go ahead and guess there would be some things that you can do. So this is don't know, but you definitely can do that. And that would put you in a better spot by having less of a mortgage. Economy 80 2193. How much cash should I keep and what to do with the excess? There shouldn't be excess cash. Excess cash should be put to whatever baby step you're on. Oh, let's see. What is that? Been paying off student loans for almost 20 years, and there's still $56K left. Yeah, they haven't been, shall we say, gazelle intense, and so that's why I think it's a spending issue as well. All right, Trey. Yep, Trey. Trey says 3K surgery and a dog. Grew up in the country. We don't get pets 3K surgeries. Maybe it's a bit heartless though. I don't know. I think everybody, when you get a job, you have to have the number in your head as how much are you going to spend on a pet. Yeah, as I said, and I didn't read it before I said that. She thinks that's one of the things you need to ask yourself before the need arises. Was the most you would spend on a pet? That way you don't have all the emotion of the moment. Yep. Cool. And Trey has had to put down a couple of hunting dogs. Where are we? Oh yeah, the cash and what to do with the excess. So let's see what's going on here. So again, there should be no excess. Are you talking about cash to? We have the debt free, so theoretically, at least on baby step 3. And let's say a small business owner with a few employees, including my spouse. I've always been one who gets pleasure out of watching my investment savings grow and finding new ways to save. Maybe a bit of a cash hoarder due to how I was raised on the edge of poor. So he was a poor, or at least an edge of poor. I had been listening to Dave and considering working on becoming debt-free mainly, as people who did it always sounded stress-free. So my mind was primed for considering debt reduction. Yeah. One day, just 2 years ago, I noticed all my debt, home, business purchase, and SPA loan equaled all of my personal savings and investments within $100. Yep. This seemed like fate. So one unplanned moment, I cashed out all of my savings and investment and paid off all my debt. Well, you shouldn't have done that if that was a retirement, because that cost you a lot in penalties. Let's see where it changed my life, as suddenly all my debt payments were being directed to savings, and I could spend whatever I wanted. It freed me up to turn away clients I didn't want to take on. Yep, and gave me permission to not work so many hours. Now, exactly, it gives you more choice about life. The higher number baby step you're on, you get to do that kind of thing. Like if you would rather just do volunteer work instead of actually work and get paid for it, you can do more of that, the higher baby step number you're on. Just due to the level of work that needs to be done, considering cutting back on normal hours by reducing client load more. All right. So now I have a problem. I did not anticipate how much to keep liquid and what to do with the rest. Well, you would keep, your business has to have enough to stay liquid. If you're like a retail person, what does it say that he did? Did it say? Does not say what the business is. So if you're retail, you do have to have some cash for the register as well. But personally, you have to have your emergency fund should be liquid, and that's it. So let's see. I'm maxing out retirement for my hubby and myself. I want to be my own line of credit for the business. Well, that's not a line of credit if it's your money. So that's not a line of credit. You're just investing your money into your own business. So I'm keeping enough for 2 months of payroll in the event clients stop paying. Okay, but that doesn't have to be liquid. That can be in a high yield savings account until you need it. I have 2 car funds in case either me or hubby needs a new used car. Okay, I have an emergency fund and a potential future medical fund. I've had cancer a couple of times. Yikes, okay. I mean, probably if you get cancer one time, I'll be fine. I would be fine with you having a future medical fund. And twice, not, don't have a problem with that. And just want to, and this is house as well, right? Home. Yep. Home as well. So yeah, this is step 7 too. So at this point, you can have as much as you want laying around in cash. So this is going to be up to you as far as what you should do, but why keep it liquid and in cash if you don't need it to be? Now, in high yield savings account, that's semi-liquid, 1 to 3 day transfer. But it's not like in a CD where there'll be a penalty if you need it earlier or anything like that. So, my name is Paul, and this is between y'all. You and your husband should find out or should figure out what you want to do. Also have a travel fund, so plenty of funds, although I'm not good at taking time off. Right, so you got plenty of funds happening, and maybe they're all in high yield savings accounts already. Am I saving too much in liquid funds? If yes, what a proper amount? In step 7, you've earned the right to decide all that for yourself. So, and you're already thinking about it. How much is too much cash to keep around? And so you're already thinking about it. And because you can't do everything that you want to do, or like if you were having a medical issue, you wouldn't be going on vacation, for example. So you could probably double up on the labels for the different funds. Like the travel fund could be also the medical fund, because then the travel goes bye-bye when you have a medical issue. So like that kind of thing. And so that takes you a bunch of more money that you can invest instead. And maybe the liquid funds, are you saving too much? Maybe all of that's in a high yield savings account. And if so, that's fine. You would not put it in the market unless you don't need the money for 5 years. I'm at a good place. It's a cold place. They say it gets colder. You're bundled up now. Wait till you get older. Little pitchy dog, like no pitch at all. What are some options for new investments with upcoming excess funds? Again, there's not in the market. You don't do that if you are if you might need the money, might possibly need the money within 5 years. You would not put it in the market. You would just do your high yield savings account for that. So, all right. So that's 2 now, isn't it? Yeah, that's 2 now. Where, yeah, this step 7 as well. Yeah, so 2 step 7s in a row asking questions about spending, saving. Interesting. Just has the debt free there, but could put step 7. Boom, boom, boom. As in his question, what she would do if one of the foxes that visits all the time showed up injured. Speaking of, how is the livestock, Aslan? Are they all good? Someone cooked here. All right. Part-time job. Hey, y'all. Hi, guys. I don't post on here hardly at all. Okay, so you see when you put the don't in there. See, I post on here hardly at all. That means I hardly post on here. And that's what you mean to say when you put a don't in front of it. That means you don't hardly do it. That would mean you do it a lot, which is not what you mean to say. So, hashtag, I don't know if that's a 3rd grade thing. That might be more like 5th grade or something, but should still know that. I feel like for me, this is a good time to ask. I work for the railroad as a conductor and engineer, making $120,000 a year. And you can make $220K a year, even if you do double negatives. And can earn more, earned 143 last year. Take home is around 70 to 80K. I contribute 7% to 401K. you doing it wrong. S&P 500 style account, you doing it wrong. I bring home around 3,100, 3,300 every 2 weeks. We are comfortable. My wife is a stay-at-home mom to our 3 children. We bought a house last year in January of 2024, a modest ranch style 3-bed, 2-bath. We have 3 paid-for vehicles, no credit card debt, no personal loans. HELOCs, we owe 204 on the house. And so with the 143, again, no problem with that house payment either. So these people are doing excellent today with their money. Most of them. $1,600 a month with escrow. The houses are only debt outside. Outside of what? Some small medical debt we pay on each month, around $125 a month. Pay that off instead of doing other dumb crap with money. Also, you're not investing enough. You're only investing 7%. So you see, if you consult the baby steps, the investing step is step 4, and you don't do that while you have medical debt, because that's in step 2. So you're doing it wrong. You also don't have more savings than $1,000 while you have medical debt. So you're doing it wrong. But so you see here on step 4, invest 15%. It says it right there. It doesn't say invest 15% of your household income in retirement, or you can do whatever number you pull out of your butt. It does not say that on there. Where are we? So you would be paying that off today. Oh, around $5K. Right, you don't debt leverage your freaking medical debt. That's dumb as crap. We have $8,500 in a high yield savings account. Yeah, you would take that out, $5,000 out today and pay it off. Quit being dumb. And around $1,500 in our regular bank savings. In the past few months, we spent around $7,000 for a new septic system. Yeah, that's going to happen if you have a house. And bought a corner lot cash behind me. And that's a no, too, until your current house is paid off. Until your house is paid off. You don't be buying lots and not pay off your house. So you're doing it wrong. $250K a piece on 20-year term. Okay, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about all that. Doesn't affect anything. Wife and I want to buy another vehicle. No. Well, you would buy it in cash, but first you use your cash to pay off your dumbass medical debt. You're doing it wrong. Also, you contribute 15%. If you cannot do 15%, then you have to cut out spending somewhere or make more money. It should not be your mortgage that is causing the problem, but you can be like the previous person and sell your house even if you don't need to relocate yourself in the baby steps in a better place. We can afford a reasonable payment. That okay, reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey. Are you familiar with Mr. Ramsey? Do you know that he's the no debt guy? Apparently you didn't know that, or you don't care, because you kept your medical debt around instead of using cash you already had to pay it off. You should have paid for that immediately instead of turning in the debt. That's what we call debt leverage. So I wouldn't want I wouldn't want any more. See the double negative again. So that's quadruple negatives then. Her sister wants to buy my wife's car. Okay, well, whatever. All that stuff is dumb, and you can work that out on your own. I mentioned to my wife tonight, all right, if it would hurt to work part-time some during the weekdays to sack more cash back. Alrighty. So this is my pal Matty Bags. Also, mentioned like this. He used to I think I think I shamed it out of him though, I believe. Unless he's doing it without me knowing, because he's not doing it in chat anymore. And this word would be asked. You mentioning is telling somebody something. You mentioning if it would be this, or should we do this, that's asking. That's not mentioning. All right. Where were we? If we did VIMVIP equal, my plan is to knock it out ASAP. The way to knock it out as soon as possible is to not do your dumb crap that you're doing with your extra savings and stuff. You're doing it wrong. You pay it completely in cash. But before you do that, you pay off your non-mortgage debt. And then also have your full emergency fund. And then you can buy a car cash if you want. Is this a good idea? You can work more, sure. One day I'd love to be able to pay our house off too. Yeah. And you know how you do that is by not doing the dumbass crap you're doing. All right. Understand things take time and patience. They do. It also takes not being understanding impaired of the English language and, of course, the Ramsey advice, which you're on the Dave Ramsey subreddit. And he's the no debt guy. And so you're doing it wrong. Bum, bum, bum. Trey says, fix my problem without me having to change any of the things that got me here or requiring sacrifice of any kind. That is what they want. That is what they want. They want the magic solution, Trey, and that does not exist. Trey says, little suffering now will pay off in the long term. It's the same principle as working out or eating healthy. That much is certain. Alrighty. Okay, conference 6215. Car debt or student loans pay off both. So you see, if you consult the baby steps, I wonder if there's one that says how you should pay off debt. Oh, look at this. It says pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball. And if you click on learn more, I believe it does say that the debt snowball is pay it smallest to largest. And here on the subreddit, they have made their own list where it already says smallest to largest. So what is the deal with asking that? Just to give some context, I don't need any. That doesn't change the advice. The context, nothing that you type here is going to change the advice that you should do smallest to largest. Let's see what it is. 19, always been pretty good with money. Made the mistake as soon as, except then you weren't. Bought a brand new car. You were not smart with money then. You were not pretty good with it. You sucked with money then. And I did the same thing. I sucked with money too. At the end of the day, it was my choice and I was never forced, but I was heavily influenced by my parents, but I overcame my mistake and my girlfriend and I paid it off in 10 months. You're doing it wrong, shacking up. Don't combine finances till you are married. That would be our only debts. Our next step was saving 3 to 6 months. You should not be combining finances. Should not be living together. Her car's a 01 Blazer, which is giving her problems, and we're going to need a new car soon. You don't know that. You said it's giving you problems. Why don't you get the problems fixed? And how do you know that you're going to need a new car soon? You don't. I'm assuming you're not a mechanic, so you don't know. Where are we at? Not a brand new car, just a new car to us. LOL. I'm sticking around 10K for that. But the other problem is she's starting school in August. I would like to cash flow that as much as I can. Yeah, well, you do that. You do cash flow it. And if you don't have the cash, then she doesn't start. there. But also, don't combine your finances yet until you get married. You're doing everything bad, Mr. Pretty Good with Money. Or do I take the debt from the car and cash flow or college? Take the debt from the car. Do you mean the extra payments that you're doing that? No, you would not cash flow or college until you're married. And then at that point, you would cash flow education before making extra payments to debt. There's no need to pay off debt and then incur more. That's dumb as crap. I hate debt and don't want to be in it again, so don't be in it. And get out of it now. You're doing it wrong. But if it comes down to it and I'm forced to choose, I want to be prepared. No, you just don't do that. You just don't pick either of them. Everything you're doing here is bad. Don't do that. And it probably a key point. We live together. Yeah, that's dumb as crap. Our finance accounts are not combined, but obviously, if you're going to cash flow her college, your freaking finance is combined, dummy. But obviously our bills are, and I'm doing this for our future. When we do get married, I plan in a few years, it's smooth sailing. You're doing everything wrong there. Stop doing things wrong, people. Punch for punch. All right. Getting stuck on the emergency fund. Alrighty. So that happens when you perhaps go gazelle, perhaps not, but perhaps go gazelle on baby step 2, and then all of a sudden you don't have debt anymore, and so then you're not as gazelle on step 3, which you should be. Do not take your foot off the gas until the full emergency fund is saved, and because of things that are probably going to be in this post here. My husband, 29, and I, 26, got debt free about 8 months ago. Great. We paid off probably about 40 to 60K in 2.5-ish years. All right. We've been trying to build an emergency fund since and just keep getting knocked down. Okay, let's see what's the problem. We got weeks away from hitting 3-month savings. And we had 2K in repair bills on both of our cars. Okay. The cars don't make sense to sell, trade, etc. since they're paid off. Sometimes it does make sense to sell cars if you have too much problem with them and replace it. But it may be better if you fix the problem, then theoretically it wouldn't have that problem again, at least for a while. They just cost a combined yearly average of 2K to maintain. That's fine. 2K to maintain is better than buying a new to you car. Except this freaking year. Okay. Been more this year. All right. But yeah, 2K is fine. Even 4K is fine. That's probably going to be better than a 10K car that you would buy. Maybe we'll choose something else once we have the savings, but it doesn't make sense now. Right. And that would not be an emergency. Replacing a car is not an emergency unless it just completely flat out dies and you have to get to work. That would be the only thing that would possibly be an emergency. But you just getting the full emergency fund, and see, that's what I think might also be happening in addition to this car thing. But let's see if they'll, because sometimes they make it sound good at first and then they let something slip that they also spent money on. But it feels like we can't get ahead. We save 20% of our income towards our emergency fund. And then once we have 3 months, we'll start putting into retirement. Okay, if you have a mortgage, I always recommend that you have the 6-month emergency fund instead. My husband has a pension, so it's really just more that I'll start meeting my match. Just if you're on step 4, you should be doing 15% of household income. And that means both spouses putting 15%. And his pension doesn't do anywhere near as well as the market, so that counts for half towards the 15%. So the amount of contribution that he is putting in, or if they're giving it to him, whatever, that amount, the amount that's coming out of his check that he is putting in out of his pocket, or actually out of his wages, not, it doesn't go in his pocket because it's already put in automatically, that percentage counts as half. So if that's 5%, that counts as 2.5 towards the 15, so you have to invest more. But it just feels like, for me, it's going to take almost a year just to save 9K with the way things keep going wrong. I know it's better than going into debt for car repair. Yeah. And I'd definitely be more upset if we had 4K in debt right now instead of 4K smaller savings. Sure. But it's so much more discouraging to take a hit to my savings. I know we'll eventually get ahead. Yep. And especially if you should still be gazelle at this point. You should not be going out to eat or spending money on anything, really. And I know we're already much farther ahead than any of our peers. Yep. But it's hard to see the fruit of the labor when peers have ATVs and own homes and have kids and go on vacations. If your peers jumped off a bridge, would you do that too? Even though I know their finances would give me an immediate aneurysm. Yeah. If they're doing it on debt, it's not real. Edit, just redid my savings budget with the suggestions. Oh, somebody, 51 comments. And the inclusion of the 5 paycheck months. We have this month and July, and we'll actually be at our 3-month goal again by August 1st, and I'll start putting into my 401k. So fire has been contained. Okay. So great. Somebody figured it out for them. Excellent. Karma's bitch. Budgeting fun money. Hi all, hi guys. As a relatively new engineer, I read this one already. I'm making, I think, about 77K. I didn't read any other ones, I don't believe. Annually, I have a goal of buying a house eventually in a high cost of living area, Pacific Northwest. I don't remember that being the title of it though. Let's see. Well, that's reasonably good progress. I feel like I could be doing more. I also enjoy activities with friends, etc. I've been working towards a promotion at work to raise my income, but I wanted to get insights on how other people handle allocating a fixed segment of take-home pay to fund money without giving into lifestyle creep and overcoming the feeling of losing out on future growth by doing so. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to have any fun money. That's up to you. Most people, I think, would end up spending some money in the fun category, whether they had a fun money line item or not. So you may as well put it in there and put it at a number that you limit and you keep yourself under that and don't go over, and you stick to your budget. So that's what you should do, Mr. or Mrs. Engineer or Ms. Engineer. Or Miss Engineer. Late war 2350 bankruptcy. I can't believe I'm even sharing this. I did some of the baby steps years ago. Not enough of them apparently. In another life, it feels like. Paid off all my debt, including student loans. Okay, so if you don't have debt, you generally don't have to declare bankruptcy. So, took out more debt, didn't you? My car, then my husband's car, etc. Then saved enough money to buy the house. Had 6 months of expenses and savings. And then some life events happened and I spiraled. Like what? Oh, we divorced, sold out. Okay. Okay. So, selling the house. Yeah, I just changed to a much lower income job. My expenses went way up. Yep, gotta go back to an expensive job then. Got back to a higher income then. And I eventually got into a shitty relationship where I let my emotions override my intellect, and that happened with your finances as well. And ended up in some credit card debt. Yeah, well, you didn't end up in it. You chose to do that, and whether that was because you had emotions override your intellect or not, you still chose to do that. So that is how it works. You don't get to say, "Oh, well, it doesn't count because I had emotions override my intellect." That's why, but you still did it. You still chose it, so you got to accept it. And let's see, I spent a little bit trying to clean that up, but had another round of even worse extenuating circumstances, including losing my job, my apartment, burning to the. Okay, so again, we don't know what is this person's fault or this is just bad luck happening. The emotional trauma that was going on that could have caused not being a good worker. It could have been allowed to make the person not be a good worker and then got fired from that. And so that you don't get a pass on that, unfortunately. Let's see. Survive the next 8 months on credit cards. Yeah, you don't live on credit cards. Losing my job and my apartment burning to the ground within months of each other. I survived the next 8 months on credit card. Yeah, I would. You know what you should do? You should have got another job. Why didn't you get another job? Get another job. Get another job. I'm in worse financial position than I ever dreamed of. Yeah, because you didn't get a job. I could get to. I went from a mortgage as my only debt, money in the bank. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you had it. You had everything going on, and then the divorce. Yeah, blow all that up. I get it. I'm finally building my life back. I'm no longer homeless. Right, so you're getting it together, and bankruptcy should be the last possible option. If you can eventually pay everything off, then you do that. If stuff is in collections, you let it sit in collections and you keep your current debt current. You keep that going, and you would pay that off first. Take emergency fund back down to $1,000 if it's higher, and you would do the baby steps. So I have a job back in my career and a baby 401k started up. That's a no until you pay out. You're not on baby step 4. So you're doing it wrong. But the economy has changed significantly, and I'm trying to do this on one income household this time. Yeah, so that means you can't have a big housing payment. But barely making end meet. I guess making ends meet as is right now. My tiny condo costs $1,800 a month. Shouldn't be spending that much. My dad sold me his car so I can get to work, but that's with a payment plan because I cannot afford it all up front. Yeah, you shouldn't be going into debt for it either. So so you cannot borrow your way out of this problem. You can't borrow your way out of debt because that's more debt. So you're doing it wrong. Haven't made contact with all of my creditors to inquire about a minimum payment because I'm nervous with some of them to bring my account to their attention. They know you have an account with them, and for them to start taking legal action, they'll do that when they want to, regardless of whether you've been talking to them or not. But if they're in collections, you can let them sit until you pay off everything that's current. When I spoke with a credit counselor before, the minimum they could get me added up to about $800 a month to start paying them and get debt free within 4 years. And so that's going to be a no if that one's in collections. If that one's in collections, you just let it sit. You can work on a settlement with them later. And if it's in collections, you can eventually they can force the issue and take you to court whenever they want to. Of course, but otherwise you just let it sit in collections and you negotiate with them a settlement in full once you get done with your current debt. the stuff that's not in collection. It just feels like, for me, such an enormous mountain to climb, and like the first step will cause an avalanche. I can't find much of anything Dave says regarding bankruptcy without it sounding like a vastly different situation than the one I'm in. Your special little situation does not change the advice ever, not even for this. I know you want it to. People always want it to, but it doesn't. Bankruptcy should be the last possible option. And people do that so they don't have to deal with the calls, etc. anymore. People do that for that reason. Because they think it's fixing it, and it doesn't fix it. Does anyone have experience or advice in this realm? Yeah, Mr. Ramsey does. And so what Dave says regarding bankruptcy, it doesn't matter if you think it's a vastly different situation. It's not. If somebody's considering bankruptcy, they owe money and you owe money. All the little details, the divorce, all the other little crap in there, that sucks, I agree, but that doesn't change the advice. Scared of hurting my credit that hard for 7 to 10 years. Your credit's done. Guess what? Didn't you say I did some of the baby steps? You missed baby step 0, where we don't give a crap about credit score. So first learn the advice and then do it the correct way, and don't choose to go into debt to fix something. Debt does not fix anything. That hard for 17 years, but I'm also scared that every month I continue as is. I'm just extending that anyway. Yeah. So got a great idea. Get a part-time job too, like the other person was talking about. Part-time job for that person too. But yeah, bankruptcy, the last possible option. Do other options first. Oh, it's 11:29. All right. So tomorrow we'll be doing, should I pay an extra $600 toward my 2.62 ARM mortgage or put it in 4.4? No, that's called debt leverage. And if you're familiar with Mr. Ramsey, you know he's not only the no debt guy, he's also the no debt leverage guy. And that is debt leverage. So we don't do that to get the extra 1.82%. No, 1.78. Yeah, 1.78% to get the extra 1.78%. We don't do that. So you're thinking about it wrong. You're trying to financial bro it. And we'll read all the rest of the stuff that doesn't matter, that doesn't change the advice at all. We'll read that tomorrow. Glass Lab, $26.99. Paying down auto loan. Yes, do that. If you pay $300 a week at your regular payment, it depends if they have the interest built in, which they can. Sometimes that does happen with cars and houses. They can have the interest built in, and it doesn't matter if you pay it off sooner, you still have to pay all the interest built in. And clarification around baby steps. I can't wait to do some clarification for this person. And that'll be so fun tomorrow. Once more, youtube.com/coachstevemoney. Ramsey Solutions, financial coach. And if you, yes, you have money problems, or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, or if you're doing it wrong, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. Link is in the ticker below, also in the video description. Email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Anything you got to tell me or ask me is fine, especially financial questions or anything about coaching. Donations, paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, CashApp, $, CoachSteveMoney. on the Cash App, or a Walmart gift card to that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, might do a video game stream sometime this week, but don't know exactly when. The only streams for sure, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show, and that's Monday through Friday following each YouTube Ramsey show, and they are done at 10:27 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's when I start. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment, and as always, make smart financial decisions every day.